The Daily Jolt is one of the most closely watched forums for discussion on campus. Everyone from administration officials on down at one point or another reads it. Even some join the discussion. Mere minutes after an event happens, someone is writing about it on the Daily Jolt, and there's no shortage of opinions. Whether it be blatantly untrue rumors about Rick Santorum being named the new AU president, or red-hot debates about Jimmy Carter, the Daily Jolt is a forum for one of the liveliest and sometimes nastiest places to share your views. But watching over this chaotic scene is site editor and former student government vice president, Pat McGill. Pat, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
What do you think? I mean, I was reading today at about 3:31, Jeff Hanley's decision to step down as vice president, effective in December, was already on there.
Right.
And I was at the Senate meeting, and he couldn't have announced that much previous to when it was posted on the Daily Jolt. How does the Daily Jolt fit into campus news?
I got a press release at like 7 o'clock about that event from Student Government Secretary Kate Douglas. So there's one of the instances where the Jolt breaks news before anyone else does. You know, we broke the news on the blue lights with you guys before the Eagle did. I found out about that tree that fell on a kid freshman year on the Daily Jolt. So there's many instances where the Jolt is on the forefront of news on this campus.
Yeah, you talk about the Eagle. Some have said that the Daily Jolt has about as much credibility as the Eagle. Do you agree with that?
It's hard to compare the Daily Jolt and the Eagle in that way because they're a newspaper and we're a website. And there's two parts. There's the front page, which I write with a co-editor, and then there's the forum where anyone can post. And so the front page has credibility because I don't write, some of the things that the forum does, but the Eagle does lack a lot of news sometimes.
Yeah. What do you think the Daily Jolt brings to community? We were talking about before the show, and you said that there's a void that it fills. Describe that void for us.
There's a void of people talking. There's a void of news happening. The Jolt, you have administrators reading it. You have student government leaders read it obsessively. When I was student government vice president, if you want to find out what students are thinking, you go read the Jolt, where students post their most candid thoughts sometimes.
What do you think is one of the craziest, threads, topics of discussion you've ever read on the Daily Jolt?
There's a thread that was put up there yesterday, I believe, which asked for users to post the baddest thing they've ever done, and that got turned into a discussion where people posted that they had slept with me, multiple people that I don't think I did sleep with.
What do you think describe some of the duties that you do to run the Daily Jolt? I mean, what does that look like? Every
day I write a story on the front page. Tomorrow I'll probably be writing about our Halloween contest. And then throughout the day I have to read every post to make sure things don't get too out of hand, which is a job in itself.
Yeah, because there's some really crazy things on the Daily Jolt, and kind of sometimes where does that mesh with free speech? Where do you have to step in? Where do you have to kind of, they wrote it, they get to say it. Where's the line?
If you're a public figure, I rarely will delete posts about you. So even when I was vice president and running the Jolt at the same time, so there were kids, bashing me for not doing something or doing something, and I left that up there when I could easily deleted that thread. But if someone, says something outing someone as homosexual, I will, delete. If they're slanderous or libelous, I get rid of those pretty quickly.
Yeah. Do you think there's a lot of those? I mean, how?
I don't know. There's some, but there's enough other stuff that keeps people going to the Jolt.
Yeah. I was reading recently on the Daily Jolt that there was the whole controversy between Travis MacArthur and Nick Troiano. That really kind of, in some senses, tarnished, I don't know if that's really the right word even, tarnished the reputation of the Eagle. Do you feel, there was a hot debate on that on the Daily Jolt. How does that fit in to kind of all the different boundaries with freedom of speech and preserving someone's reputation? Where did you come down on that?
I pretty much stayed out of that one, but here you had Travis posting nonstop, defending himself and digging himself into a bigger hole left and right, and then Nick came on later, so it wasn't really people slandering them. It was them debating it out, and Travis made himself look stupid.
You used to be part of the student government. You mentioned you were both a senator and vice president. How does kind of being out of the student government and then kind of overseeing discussion of the student government, how does that shape your view?
I probably have the best view of student government. I was in it, so I know what actually happens, and I know how things get done, and I know all the people in it this year, so I know their personalities. I'm friends with most of them. So even when last year I was covering student government and being in it at the same time, which was difficult, but I never had to say, oh, I'm not going to post that because I'm vice president. I was like, it's got to be out there. So
right. Based upon the things you read and the feedback you get from students on the Daily Jolt, are there things on campus that you look at and you're like, boy, those really need to be addressed? I mean, obviously a lot of people read the Daily Jolt, a lot of administration people, so they should be viewing this too, but do you think that there's a void between what is being expressed as public opinion and what's being addressed?
One of the biggest things lately I've been trying to build up support for was opposing how poor the public safety did on the blue light tests. Student government basically said, try better next time, when 7 minutes to get to the Nebraska Hall should be an outrage, and 5 minutes to get to the quad, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we've talked a lot about the Daily Jolt and the Eagle. What's the relationship like there? I mean, is there kind of a hostility between the Daily Jolt and the Eagle?
They might not like me, but I read their issue every Monday and Thursday. I have friends who write in the Eagle. They endorsed me when I ran for vice president, but they don't do their job enough, so that's why the Jolt's there.
Awesome. Any last thoughts?
Maybe I'll just give a little shout out for our Halloween contest. If you put a picture of yourself, picture of you in a Halloween costume, you can enter to win a trip to Cancun. We're going to be deciding the winner tomorrow, Monday, so if you post it tonight or tomorrow, it'll be in the contest.
All right, cool. When we come back, Baron John Weyerhaeuser joins the conversation. Stay tuned.